Right, yo. Oh, it's this line. Right, I just want to do a quick update because my head's going mad the last few days. I feel like everyone's asking me loads of questions, so going back to my second language, which is language. Even though it fractures the DNA, because it's fracturing my DNA speaking now like it is everyone else speaking all these other languages, and then they're not weaving right. So this is all energy. So I'm just going to try and weave together everything I've been saying, because like I'm up here and I feel like a lot of people are here and I need to meet in the middle with them, with understanding just a few of the topics that I'm talking about. So I'm trying to spend as much as my time taking all the energy that I'm absorbing, yeah, and when I absorb all the energy around me, I just absorb it as colour. Yeah, that's basically my main gift that I've been able to do since I was younger. I've always done it, and it's like I see now what's going on is like an elastic band. So like as we're trying to pull out of the old life that we know, that we was taught, that we have been programmed into, and that we've come down here and we've been put into certain bloodlines that have been existing since this all began. So like everything's existing within the blood, which is the oldest river. So like I see DNA like a phone number, for instance. Like all of you have a phone number. I had one once. It's quite a long time ago now, but they're all the same numbers, so they're all the same colours. When you mix them you get different ones, whereas numbers, they just stay the same, and then everyone is able to have a phone number, and they all normally start with 07 blah blah blah. So that everyone here can have a phone number because there's enough numbers to put in a certain order that everyone can have their own different one. So it's the same with DNA, with colour. Like everyone can have their own weaves of colour, like a phone number, and then that would create a different structure. So like the phone number are able to stay different because it creates a different structure. So our DNA is weaved the same way as that, basically. And what they've done with Hollywood, so I'm going to put myself in my deep subconscious, and how I can extract what is going on to what is real and what's not. Or everything is real because everything is a state of colour and everything is a state of matter, which is light. So it's basically like being informed within itself at a certain state of alchemy, so it always stays at a certain level of energy, but it's always a lower state of energy where we need to break out of that cycle and go to a higher state of energy. But in order to do that, it needs to be bound again, because it was bound once. Like we have a core of the earth and then it goes out. So like what Hollywood has done, the pagan group has done with their intent of their energy, which has obviously been deformed at some point into another set of energies, which is in trying to harvest off of the one that we're all attached to right now, which is one that they've created to keep this going, because it's not going to keep going. Like right now we need food to survive right now, because there's like a breakdown of this energy that happens before you can just eat knowledge and eat information, because you need to actually go within the deep subconscious and kind of rework its system of what it's been set to. So like for instance, most people are stuck in this world of Hollywood and that. Like a lot of the artists and the musicians and the creatives and these people, our brains are always functioning and always creating and always doing this stuff. To actually watch some of this stuff is actually worse for my brain than for me to just be creating my own, because every time I'm watching films or media or things like that, I'm just over analysing this colour, the shade, the light. Like it's too much for me, and then I would go and create my own stuff and do this, and it's fracturing parts of my memory structure that I've stored since I was little. So like I never intook language and that in school very much. I always did art. I used to get locked in art cupboards, so I've always just focused on being in control of my own creation. That's how I've been programmed. So what I'm seeing with the Hollywood, with the films, with the box, the black box setup, is that when people are going to watch a film, they're going to switch off from their job, from the left brain, from that more dominated world, and then you've got the inside. So it's like the inside from the Hollywood, from the box, from that, is just being fed what it's intaking. It's not doing it by choice, it's doing it because it's there and everyone has it and it's been intaken. So this has been bound and grown from gambling, from dopamine, from the gaming system. The CIA did stuff with all the gaming. They understand how your subconscious intakes and then will spit out energy. It understands this. So basically, like, one energy is being drawn to another. So if you think of like clubs and bars and all these places, they're like hunting grounds basically, and then people are getting poisoned there by the alcohol, which, if you look at alcohol, is the finest poison of the earth, because we need to be, to fix my endometriosis, to fix myself, I actually need the crystalline waters, the clean waters. Right here, right now, we're being poisoned by all the waters. The earth is going to heal herself, and the most lucid thing on her, like the loosest thing on her, would be her waters. We're all made out of water. So you've got to look at the hardest state of water, then the loosest state of water, and those two are going to merge. So when people are watching Hollywood, watching these things, watching the things on the TV, intaking this information, intaking the media, intaking the frequency of the media, which is all very false, and it's very structured. It's not natural, really, the way that they portray emotion. They don't portray any emotion, they take it all away. And emotion is what tunes your DNA. So if they're putting that at a serious vibration, then you're going to vibrate at a serious vibration, and then that's the energy that's going to keep webbing out. So right now, a lot of what's going on outside that's confusing people, because you've all been programmed to perceive it as not being part of this reality, which it already is and always has been and always was. So when you're sitting down on your sofa and you're watching and you're intaking this information, you've been taught how to relax. So like if you're sitting on the sofa, you're sitting here, you're sitting there, and you go to watch a film. Think of everyone in the world right now that goes to the cinema, goes to these things of luxury. They go to switch off from a part of themselves they're trying to escape from, which they're not enjoying so much, which would be work, which would be writing, which would be school, which would be the things that we don't really actually choose to do naturally. That's why the abuse is there, or why people got caned in school when they were younger, or why all these things were happening, which we've got to look at levels of abuse and what's okay and what's not okay. Yeah, we've got to re-look at these things, because we're all abusing the earth right now because of this system that is abusing us. So we actually have to break out the laws and that, because they're actually murdering us right now. I have friends right now that don't have any more foreseen shifts in London. The food's really expensive in London. I lived there. If I lived the old life I was living right now in hospitality, I wouldn't be surviving very well right now at all. They're unforeseen shifts sitting in there, when actually, I'm in Simon's council flat still looking after him, but we had the man yesterday trying to fit fire doors and stuff. Why aren't they sending the army? If the army, instead of going to war, why don't you go and help grow us food? Because food's making us sick in the supermarkets. Food's actually making us sick. We need to put energy into what we're consuming again. So how about we rearrange all of this thing that's going on right now, and why don't we break through all of these constructs where people are mentally stuck? Because that's all it is. The money is a mental prison of the mind, because you can't eat money. There's going to be a point coming up soon where, you may have $2,000 in your bank, but it ain't going to buy you a loaf of bread, and you can't eat that. So you're just going to throw it in the bin. Yeah. It's like people are holding on to it out of fear, out of scared, I need this to survive, when actually it's killing us. Because, everyone right now should be going, looking where the good soil is, looking where that is, and maybe filling their houses up with plants and stuff to actually survive. But plants and that don't like growing around Wi-Fi and all this technology, so it's just a no-go. So we're actually stuck in the places that are actually slowly killing us right now and programming us. Because when you're watching these films and watching these things and you sit back and you're relaxed, then you're taught to absorb these things when your mind is relaxed. Do you understand? So like everyone here right now isn't reacting to any of this stuff. They're not reacting to any of it because their mind has literally been programmed to sit back, War of the Worlds, or the big hailstones coming out of the sky and all that, or fighting or violence or anything like that. It's like you'll sit back and you'll absorb it like it's okay, because your mind has been already programmed to do that. Like everything you're looking at is already existing within your subconscious, because you've intaken it from all the films, from all that thing. You've already seen it, so it's already existing there. So like a part of you already knows that it's existing. That's part of the real matrix, with the iron. that's linked up to everything in the soil and your blood, and everyone in these things, and then they're programming a concept. And actually there's not many things that program music to movement or colour, but they program like the music videos to a concept. So like it would be like sexual, or it would be this, or it would be that, and then they program it to that. They're not program it to the actual vibrations and energy of what it's actually doing. So that is programming the DNA through the language and the way we understand concept, and then that's putting it into a shape and form of colour, which is then programming your DNA through that kind of emotion that's triggering through your programming of perception, which is what you were taught in school from your parents, what they were taught, and you know, if they didn't learn it, they were also abused. Yeah. And the things coming up now as well, actually wait, let me just elaborate on the fact that people, so yeah, people are programmed in the subconscious to be relaxed to view these things. So these things are playing out right now, but your subconscious understands them already because it's seen them, but it's not understanding them from a point you've been programmed to perceive them. You've been programmed to perceive them sitting there relaxed, like you'll put on a film and you go, ah, oh, and you'll relax with whoever you're with, and you'll switch off and you'll go into that world. So this is how they created trauma with a lot of the sexual abuse victims and stuff. They fractured parts of their minds that was so extreme and so fractured in pain and different states of DNA that, you know, the people just come back into this world and go outside and everything's the same. You know, a lot of the stuff they're doing with virtual reality, also programming the brain with emotions and fear. Because a lot of this stuff can just be put onto it like a file onto another file. You know, like I said, people going in and out of hospitals and that they're swapping files. When you come in and out your body, that's your soul, that's your memory. Your memory is your soul, and they're mucking around with people's souls, people's memory through the senses. So people going in hospital and coming out of body are losing parts of their DNA, and then when they're going back into, why are people waking up in hospitals crying? Why is this stuff happening? Yeah, because it's not right. And they've actually, I started researching it more and more. 2018, someone did an article where they were saying that, you know, because so many people are starting to question now in hospitals what actually happens to you when you leave the body because of all this stuff. There's so much evidence on it. And then they've been studying it for years. They also know what it is about. You know, that's why they put all the drugs out there, all the ketamine, all the ones that numb the body, because the information is stored within the body. The information that we need to pull us out of this, you know, like octopuses and that don't even have bones, for instance. Like we have bones, it's linked to the calcite, the calcium. The calcium, the shells and that are still made out of this stuff. Yeah, the spiral, the DNA spirals, it's spiraling. The sea, you know, everything is spiraling. And then they're trying to get, we shouldn't be drinking milk, we're not baby cows. Shouldn't be eating animals. You're eating animals, you're absorbing adrenochrome because you're absorbing a bloodline that has been harvested out of pain. When actually we need to be transmuting the blood. And when you go into your blood, you're going into files and memories, because your blood should just be water. Why is it red? Why is it all this stuff? Because the memories existing in the eggs, existing throughout, you know, one crystal pops out through the womb, one crystal pops out through the womb. You're holding all of that information every time you go through each. So all your family is existing within you right now. Everything that they've experienced, all the traumas, all the love, everything that they've experienced is within you. You're unraveling this right now. You know, you could go up and meet someone that you don't know and recognise them, and it's because there's something both in your blood that's drawn you together, because you're meant to do this at this time to help unravel it back out. And this is what we're going through right now. So yes, why isn't the army going and growing us food? Why aren't they setting up music? Why aren't they setting up healing centres to help us right now? Why have we had someone here yesterday and these council flats coming around to tell us that they're going to fit new fire doors? Why are they putting money into new fire doors when we need to be leaving these locations really and going and setting up self-sustainable, or at least breaking the laws right now to actually survive? You know, why aren't we filling up all of these and making all of these simple living self-sustainable? Why can't we do it to the cities? Why can't we grow hemp and then make or get clay? And why can't we start growing food everywhere and set up a new water system? Why can't we do that? Why can't we start moving things around and all that? Because we're not going to survive if we don't. Like I said, the money's going up and up in London. The lockdown's getting harsher. People are losing their jobs. We're going to be sitting here watching each other die and starve on the internet. because they still let us have internet and electricity. You know, how does that work out to the mind? Why do people come around putting money into fire doors right now? That's not where it needs to be going. So what is going on? Because it shouldn't be going on like this right now. People need to be putting their energy into different formats. We need to learn how to get one energy and change it up. You know, the sounds we should be intaking should be more natural. We should be combining back with the earth. And then the energy should start to amp up, because that should start giving energy back to us. Yeah, I know this is hurtful for a lot of people to hear right now. I know a lot of people's lives are being like shattered right now, but you've got to see this as just part of a breakdown of an experience that you chose and came to experience right now, because the scale of this going on right now is happening throughout the whole universe right now. There's so many people watching this right now. Yeah, it's really important. It's really important to look after yourself at these times, basically. And a lot of people are getting confused and just going round and round in the same circles. It's like Simon's lived in this flat for like 18 years. I know men that have lived in other places for like, you know, the people that have been married, that have mortgages and have all these things, are actually the most in trouble right now. The people that think they're the most, you know, set in their life, or I have a good job, or I get paid salary yearly, or I get, you know, I'm all right, I got my savings. You people are the people that are the most in trouble right now. The people like me that are homeless and don't own anything apart from all this art and that, yeah, which is part of the earth and my soul. Who's rich? Because I ain't poor. I don't feel poor, but yet I'm getting abused right now from many different places and that, because I'm drawing stuff out of people where they're trying to get to a higher vibration, and they're not understanding their own programming, whereas I always have understood my own programming, because I've always been in control of my memories. So like, I have my art brain that I always looked after. So like, when I want to go into my art brain, which is my creative brain, it's like a form of all my memories of my shapes and forms that I've created, that I've liked, that I've saved, because I felt an emotion at the time I stored it. Now the food is all mucking up all the brain, and the way we store, the instrument stores information and memory, and then they're mucking around with it. But you know, even the brain, for instance, like school and all that, it's all been in the brain. So if there is memory in the bones, there is memory in the blood, there's memory in everything around us, then actually we've been targeting putting all of our energy into the brain. So there is a lot of energy stored there mentally. You know, when we start to interact with things and we start pulling out of this concept of the school and everything that we've been taught, because everything we have been taught is not actually what it is. You know, it's not actually what it is. Like a lot of the talking that is basically dead. It's all dead spirit. It's all our ancestors. So yeah, I'm talking about the blood last time, and then I was talking about the gold and all that. So that everything is layers of things that have basically been slaughtered, or the forms of petrification. So yes, you're walking on all that energy when you're on Earth here, but you got to see that as like, the petrification is solidifying the memory, but for something to be really hard, like your bones, is a lot of memory. Like the last time I had my endometriosis, my pelvis again, I keep waking up sweating in the morning when I give Reiki in my pelvis, and it's actually starting to loosen. Like my pelvis is actually starting to loosen. It feels like, and this is because I've been, I do this a lot, like I swivel the energy out my body, but then I put it back inside in different ways, or I'll take the energy out and then I'll put it somewhere in the earth where it's going to come back to me in a positive way. So whatever you're putting out, you're going to receive back. But the thing is, if you've got darker things in your blood, or when I say darker, is what you've been programmed to perceive it as. So like, if I see something as a negative energy to my brain, then I'll understand that it's just that, and then I'll attach it to maybe a certain colour or different types of colours, and then I'll weave a new energy to edit that energy, and then I'll put it back, and then it should come out. But it's all to do with the way you're storing memory. Like if you see your head like files, like an office, how would you have your office to your head, your memories, and then how are you going to take that memory and how are you going to edit it and how are you going to put it back, and how can we all come up with this kind of library of thought that we can put together. And if it's going to have to be a way of surviving right now, then we need to look again at our input output, which should be colour input output, which should be knowledge input output. You want to receive what you want and you want to give out what you want. Yeah, but it's not all look back, go around and say please, thank you, yes, because the language again is fracturing our DNA. So you want to go out like the angels and whatever. The angels speak in emotions, so that would be the higher dimensions. So if you want to call people angels, they just speak with higher emotions. So if you're a higher angel, then you wouldn't actually talk with language, you talk with your emotion, which would be your aura, your energy field, your Reiki. Yeah. So actually, yeah, there is a lot going on with the pineal gland, because then you need to cool that energy down to then talk to the rest of your body. Because if you're not using your language properly, then how are you going to communicate with the rest of your body? Because you're not going to be able to communicate with the rest of your body, because your language, your bones aren't going to go to you, hello, how are you doing today? But if you talk to them in the colour white that they are, that controls every single colour in it. So you could talk to them with every single colour in it, and then your DNA would talk back to you, because it only speaks in colour. It doesn't speak in black and white, structured text. And this is the way we need to start communicating with everything and changing the communications. You know, you could hear slow wind, you could hear sharp wind, you could hear loud wind, you could hear rough waters, you could hear drips of waters, you could hear, you know, a flame. Could you hear a flame? Maybe if one was going out. Could you hear lightning? No, but look how powerful it is. So you could feel it. So then it would hold a frequency of colour, of light to even be existing. But how is it so silent and so bold and so quick and so fast at the same time? But everyone would understand these languages, because everyone is made out of these things. But it's the way that our mind has been programmed and functioned, that the way we're actually vibrating right now. So we need to unravel it and pull ourselves out of it. And the only way to do that is to do things that would make you feel good. But like I said, if you've got things in your DNA that are coming out left, right and centre right now, you may not even understand it, but it's coming out of you, it's still a part of you, because we're all part of actually the same structure. But we're all fragmented in so many different ways that we actually need to spit out our fragmentation, to bind them in a certain way as well, is how I'm seeing it. So yeah, right now the council and that, sending people to look at fire doors and this stuff, is not for our survival. It's not. So like, maybe these people are actually the most damaged, that are in control of us right now, because they're the ones that are needing the most from the earth. Yeah, and they're needing way more language, power and all these other feelings than they're needing food. So what are they surviving off? Yeah, because my energy is surviving off food, and that's where I'm looking right now. I'm not looking at money, because I feel that money is going to shut me down and kill me, and actually leave me in a really bad situation. So I'm looking at the earth, I'm looking at the animals, I'm looking at all these things, and then I'm looking at what's in the way of that, and how am I going to survive, and how am I going to enjoy myself. And if everyone did that, then the energy would go there. If everyone talks about coronavirus tomorrow, the energy goes there. If everyone talks about the government tomorrow, the energy goes there, and that's where we move forward. If everyone talks about this tomorrow, that's where we go there. If everyone didn't talk about it, it wouldn't exist, because the energy wouldn't be there anymore. So my energy doesn't go there. I'm talking about it now because I'm trying to help a few people, and this is going to be probably the last talking video that I do, because it isn't good for my DNA anymore, talking all this language. So actually, I want to be saving my energy, because right now I'm giving out energy to you talking, and I'm giving you the wrong energy, the energy I don't want to be giving you. The energy I want to be giving you is this. But I'm showing you this, and people are going, oh, what a nice painting. But you got to look at the messages within it. You know, this is showing me information about the DNA and stuff, how it's worked, how it's swapping over. It's constantly, you know, your right eye and your left eye are different. If you look someone in the right eye, you can feel truth. If you look it in the left eye, it's different, and it's because of the way we've been programmed. because of the way we've been programmed. And like I said, you got to look at these things. So like, how do you feel when you go to do something? It's like a lot of people will be feeling the same things. A lot of people are overcoming these at the same time. But you also need to like become an observer of yourself to see it at the same time. Like, observe yourself, observe your own thoughts, and know that they're not all yours because of what we've been programmed, because of what's coming out now, blah blah blah. And then the body should start to heal itself. But we need to move away from the shops and the food because it's making us sick. And that's wiring up with all the technology, you know. There's minerals and that in all the food. Look at the back of the wrappers, what they have in it. Yeah, all the different metals and all these things, and then you have them all in here. So like, you're like an electricity amp with colour, and then mining it. And to take it back, even like sitting in your drawer and painting, it's like the energy's not going to the top of the room and coming out. It's like I'm actually capturing it and putting it somewhere. So if we're capturing energy and putting it somewhere, it needs to not be hurting other people. Or when we go to these places and we move it, everything should be present. So it's just being created present all the time. You know, when they talk about the records go round and round and round and round and round. What if you could just be creating something new all the time because you was enjoying it and because it was there and it was vibing off other things, and then it would just keep growing? That's infinite. It's not stuck then in a loop. We're all stuck right now in a loop, and eventually it's just going to get more and more stuck. You know, plastic is actually conductive. So that means, therefore, I only found this out the other day. Someone was talking to me about it. Like, someone came round here the other day. I'm not going to mention their name. They were my second cousin, quite well known here actually, and looked exactly like my dad. And it was weird because I know spirits are a lot more open right now because we're in Halloween and Scorpio season. I'm actually Sun and Moon Scorpio as well, so I'm quite watery. Two of the deepest signs, Capricorn and Scorpio, I am mainly. So yeah, but that's again, Capricorn is Earth, so it's solid, and then Scorpio's got its sting in its tail, which I see as the hydrogen, and it's the two goes through the two because everything is a state of water at some point of its petrification. So the memory is all mountain of colour. But there's a lot more energy than just a little bit of colour there because it's been so filed down. It's so dense. It means there's so much there. So there's so much energy here if everyone learnt how to actually connect to it properly. And this is what we're going to be looking at, you know. Think of like composers, for instance. We could compose. We're going to be looking at all these people. Yeah, we get rid of tractors and that. It's not all that scary. Look how many people we're going to have out of work. They can all start, you know, we could have music on. We could have people enjoying themselves, and then as they're doing it, they're putting the energy into the food. They're putting the energy into the food, and that's growing. Food needs energy to grow, and then we're consuming our own energy, and then we're going in that cycle. Instead of one that's petrifying and killing us off, we're going to be one that's amping us up. You know, we'll be younger for longer periods of time. The earth will then get the energy back into that iron oxide, then start to change it, uplift it. We don't need all the machinery to make it quicker to do, because actually we've got more people to put the energy there. We've got more people to put the energy there. We could make our own instruments. Like in India, for instance, they have loads of weird different instruments that are really cheap. They've just been carved out of bits of wood people have found and stuff, but they're all completely unique. Why does everyone have to have the same guitar? Why couldn't everyone just get a piece of wood and carve their own instrument to make a unique sound, and then join them unique sounds together in their own formats? You know, and then we could compose. There's only certain people here right now that understand. It's like in these times I'm still able to create because, like I said, it's like an elastic band. It goes doing. So it's just you're starting to pull out of the life that we've been programmed, and you're going to look at what you want for new life. Your old life will go doing, and it will hurt first. Yeah, when you let go of an elastic band, it hits you. Yeah, that's what it feels like, and then it goes doing like this. Right now, everything's going like this. It's like we've all just about to get hit by the elastic band, which is going to hurt. And then because of your own perception of it, of your old life, because of the one we need to move into, you're going to look at what you've been doing and it's not good. You know, I did the same. And then it's going to go like this. And everyone's life's going to do that, because you're going to analyse your old life to then pull and change what you need to do for your new life. So yeah, we could get loads of groups of people, you know, playing drums, and If they never played drums before, that's fine. There's going to be other people that never played drums before. There's going to be other people that never done that or make their own instruments, whatever. And then, you know, we could use still the electronic music. We could still do fast beat music. I actually prefer that. I actually prefer it. People are going to have so much energy and don't know what to do themselves. Just put it into something positive. You know, but that's the problem. Like I said, people will be stuck in these places for like 20 years. Oh, they're like a circuit. They're like this. They just do the same thing. And trying to pull their minds out of it quickly is like, it's really hard to unravel something that's been stuck there for that long. So it helps with the plant medicines, the natural stuff. I've never done like a heavy plant medicine set. I've never done ayahuasca, never done all the proper deep one before. But I do have connections with it. And I do think this is the way we need to move forward. And it's not like, oh, you take that, you know, it's going to change your life. Like, there's different ways of dosing people with medicines. Yeah, there's different doses. Like, give someone a small amount. It's just the same as anything, really. Anything you use. You know, it's the same as what the hospital's done to me since I was little. You know, they made me sick from what they've done. But the thing is, they knew that they was doing that. That's the difference. They knew that they was doing it to overpower this one. So what I'm saying about the people trying to overpower us right now are needing to fall. Because that's how karma works. And these people are the furthest away from sitting and creating a piece of art or whatever right now. But then you've got the people at the top. That's all they do. They don't actually deal with the left brain in that really at all. Or they deal with art, just creating it. They sit in a completely different format. You know, for instance, their way of reading has never changed. It hasn't changed now. They're still reading the way they always have right now because we're just about figuring it out. I can see the way that they're still communicating right now that people don't understand. I'm not even going to say it on it because I don't want to give energy to it. Because I don't give my energy to them places anymore. I give it to the places I want to draw and paint and create. But yeah, the light's going weird. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm 32 now and I'm just trying to think. I know there's other stuff I was meant to be saying. But yeah, the chalk is important, and there's been a lot of evil going on here in this country. Yeah, actually, in a lot of the planet, but especially in this country, and it's gonna have to start coming out soon. So people are gonna have to look at ways to start dealing with it, and you've got to take your energy into yourself and look at what do I need to survive, where do I want to be, and you put your foot down and you put your foot there, and you move forward in that space. Whether it's you move forward within yourself. You know, go within every organ, go within every structure. How did it come? Where did it come from? Some of the Aborigines that never drank alcohol don't even have the organs to break it down. Whereas I could get up and drink bottles of Jack Daniels for breakfast. So, you know, my whole dad's bloodline was basically just from London, just from pubs and drugs, and, you know, that's living within me, all of that memory. And I don't think it was all that good. No, it didn't get in with good people, and that is still existing within me and those people's auras and all them things like that. So I choose what I want to do with that energy. You know? And everyone has that choice. Everyone has that choice what to do with it, you know? And I choose love, because that's what I love. I love the colour and I love what I love to do. And the best way that I can fight right now, like my cousin the other day, you gotta fight him, you gotta fight him. Well, my best way of fighting them would be to free myself from the fight, which would be to go within myself and love myself, because that's the place that they're the furthest away from. So that's the place that would not only just piss them off the most, which I'm not trying to piss people off, I'm just trying to heal myself. And this is where it all gets really crazy, because that is all I actually set out to do, was to heal myself. And I am starting to heal myself, but as I'm starting to do that, I'm starting to fight people trying to make me sick again, and I'm like, this isn't right. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at it from this angle, I'm going to sit here and say my truth, and I'm going to do what I feel is right for me to do right now to survive. Because the kids, my little sister, the kids, they ain't going to have any freedom if this carries on. They ain't going to have any freedom. They don't have a voice right now. The kids need a voice right now because the adults are actually the abused ones with the problem. The adults actually are the problem. The programming of the adults is the problem. The kids aren't the problem. People need to stop telling the kids what to do, and the kids actually need to tell the adults what to do right now. Is where we're at, because the kids are the ones that already have the DNA that was ready, because like I told you, the blood goes boop, 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 through one womb, out another womb, and then that configurates energy, and then that comes out another womb. So the kids are already having the DNA alignment for what Gaia needs and what's going to come out of the earth. They already have that within their alignment. They need to be being creative, because then that teaches them how to help themselves. When you're creative, you put me in any situation, I'll look at what's around me and I'll be able to create something new out of it, and I'll be able to survive. And this is why they shut art and that out of schools. This is why they program the brain with certain functions to think in a certain way. And then, you know, we're doing all the work for them, as long as they get you when you're young and when you're in school. So actually, if the kids are being programmed right now, they're just as much use as us programmed, abused adults, really, because adults are just a created form, and so kids. So actually, we all need to be level. There's not one overpowering the other. You're no different to a kid when you stand in front of a canvas. So where does your ego lie? You know, where does your ego lie? If there's something standing in the way of you and you doing something, or you thinking a certain way, or you know, the way you love a lover or love someone else or love this person, if you don't love yourself in that way, then you're rejecting your own God self. You're rejecting as much as that person as you are of yourself. But we've been taught to extend outside, so there's blocks in the way. Like, I grew all my hair back because it can turn into gold. It's crystalline. It's part of us. It's a part of us healing. Like, if all the women in Europe grew their hair back, for instance, it would change the energy field, because it stores light, it stores information. Like, they go gold when you have them in the sun, so they're holding energy. Like, the crystals hold energy from us, so we're a part of it. So if you're seeing yourself as separate from it, or, you know, like, everyone should really be walking around with no clothes on. But like, if you go to look at all these things and you're like, oh no, I can't do that, then they're blocks within yourself. If you couldn't go up and hug a homeless person in the street, that's a block within yourself. That's an ego. That's part of your problem. If you want to go and do something stopping you, that's your ego. It's part of the problem. If you can't go out and pick up a load of mud and put it in your house and do that, or you can't, they're problems that you're blocking, that's actually killing you off, or stealing your soul, whatever, you know, you want to say it in, because it's all the same essence, it's all the same energy. Language has completely fractured it. And then everyone else has all these different languages. Everyone else needs the same to survive. Learn the language of Gaia, of the weather, of the elements. And we need to hear those elements. But we also need to, you know, mix and match them to pull us out of where we are, because we're looking at this place up here and we're all here. So we need to meet, merge and fuse it and weave it. So look at where the divides are. Where are the divides? Where are kids and adults separated? If something isn't kid friendly, then it shouldn't exist, is what I think. Can you have a 3-year-old running around there? No, then it shouldn't exist for the earth either, is my advice to everyone right now. You know, kids can be around animals, certain animals. If they couldn't, then they've also been mistreated. You know, like, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, we shouldn't be killing animals. Lions and that kill animals and eat other animals, but maybe if we all changed our tracks, because we're controlling the whole earth right now, we're also destroying it, maybe they wouldn't need to feed off something else either to survive. Because when you start pulling out of eating all the meat, and because you're consuming another form of blood, which is another form of trauma. So if you're having adrenochrome and all that, you're still absorbing trauma. It's like, we shouldn't even really be eating plants and that, to be honest, because you're still consuming a part of the earth, which is living and consciousness. So really, we want to be all living off our own consciousness. So you're eating your own energy. But how are you doing that unless you're vibing off yourself? So unless you're vibing off your right brain, which is your inside self, But to communicate with your inside self, you do need your pineal gland, you do need your imagination. Yeah, and the kids have the biggest ones. When you become an adult, you lose your imagination. So actually, you can see where I'm going for this. You can see why the old men need the power the most, because they're going to be the furthest away from it. And that's just how things are. I'm not saying it to upset people. That is just how things are, you know. But the thing is, within your blood, you've been a man. Within my blood, I've been a man. I've been a woman. Within your blood, you've been this. You know. I have men within in my blood. I have women within my blood. The one goes within. But right now, I've chosen to be feminine in this life, because this is where the energy needed to go to from within my bloodline. So I needed to free myself from my own trauma within my own bloodline, from its own masculine, to unite them as one energy again, to harness and balance my masculine and my energy within, and then to create my own third energy, my imagination, out of the programming, back into the earth, with the higher dimensions. Your hair is crystalline information, yeah. Vibration, energy is where actually things need to be going. Because we got to look at these energies as broken up. So how are we going to heal them and harmonise them? Everything on the planet. So yeah, right, I'm going to go now. 41. And a lot of love. I actually was really happy yesterday. I looked out at the sun, and oh my god, there's so many colours coming through it, so many more. I could see like magentas and turquoises. I could see so many, you know, like when you squint your eye and you can kind of see the shines of the sun. In that, there was just so much colour. It was amazing. There was so much colour in it. I was like, wow, it just gone to a whole nother level. So it does work. When you put your focus and intent in the right place, it does work. Like I said, wherever the mass energy is going. Where's the mass energy going? Yeah, because there's so much more energy in the earth when we change our input output. And I know it's going to be hard, and it's going to be an ego breakdown for a lot of people, and that will be the hardest thing, is them damaging their own emotions of them egos that they built up on their own. But we need to not focus so much on that, accept that it's there, and use it to your ability to create something beautiful from that. Create beauty from that. Because you can create a lot of beauty from a lot of what's stuck in those energies, because there's so much compressed, you know. It's just, you need to just pull it out of just layers of abundance. Anyways, I'm just meditating at the moment a lot more, because I feel like the energies are quite strong right now, and I feel quite good. But a lot of people aren't feeling so great right now. So you just got to know that you just got to break down your own self, and that everything is going to level out eventually. You know, play music when you're cooking food. Put loads of love and energy into the food that you're consuming. Start to break it down. Start to listen to your body. Like, if you get up one day and go, oh, I feel like I need that to eat today, or I feel like I need this. If you're being drawn to it and you're addicted to it, like if it's chocolate or sweets, and that is literally because sugar is the worst addiction on this planet. And everyone needs to overcome that together. But that's alright. Anyways, I love you all, and everything is going to be alright. But things may get a bit darker as the truth comes out. But just know that we just need to put our energy where it serves us. Put your energy where it serves you, and where it will serve you, it will serve everybody. Because that's love. That's real love. Where that is.